All right, I'm going to walk through a Google Drive example. So there's a couple different scenarios for Google Drive. One being you need data from some source and you need to put it in a Google Drive file as like a JSON file or CSV file, Excel file, something like that. Basically, where you've got some row data and you need it into a final file. There's other Google Drive use cases where you actually just want to store the blob file itself. So, for example, if you you know are migrating image data or PDFs or something like that over from one application to Google Drive to store it, this would be a case where you're not actually creating any file, you're just moving one file from one system to another. So in this example, we'll just kind of start from scratch here. So I will go create an integration, and I'll just label it Google Drive demo. Save and create a flow. I'll go through the first use case here where we are, let's say, exporting NetSuite records to Google Drive. I'll add a source. In this case, I'll do NetSuite. I'll export records, get items, let's say. And I already have a NetSuite connection here made, so I'm just going to choose it. But if you didn't, you of course would click the plus sign, create your connection, and I'll search for. I just have this safe search here for Snowflake. Let's see, items. Oh, sorry, this is record type. So yeah, item, and the search itself, Snowflake items. And I want to get all items. And when I preview here, you'll see here I've got item data out of NetSuite. I'll save and close. All right, so now that I've got my records from NetSuite, I'll go to create a import step, and I will search for Google Drive. I want to import records into, sorry, I actually want to transfer files into destination. Create files. From there, I can choose my Google Drive connection. Again, if you don't already have one, you would just go create a new one, save and authorize here for Drive. So I'll go back, choose my existing one. And you want to, in this case, generate files from records. So we have these records out of NetSuite, and we want to create files in Google Drive. So let me just do a JSON file. You could do, of course, CSV, EDI files, XML, Excel. I'll just leave it as a JSON. And then my directory path here is going to be, so if I come over to Google Drive, here I have, just in my main drive folder, I've got this folder called demo. So you don't want to include the my drive piece, you just want to include the demo piece. So from here, I'll just put demo. And file name, you can do whatever you want here for the file name, but I'll just save and close. All right, and I'm going to come back to the NetSuite step and actually just limit the records to, let's say, 20 records exported. Turn the flow on, and then I can run it. So here, we're starting up the flow. We should see, good, we got 20 records coming out of NetSuite, and we should have that file created here pretty soon. I'll go ahead and start working on the other one here while this finishes up. So if I come back to my integration, create a flow, this one will be NetSuite files to Google Drive. Or it could be like Google Drive files to Google Drive files. So I'll kind of walk through these different scenarios. So NetSuite, in this case, we need to export records. Get file list. So for NetSuite, we need to basically get a list of files first, and then do a lookup to get the actual blob of the file. So here I'll click next, choose my NetSuite connection. I will choose, I think it's a folder search. Yep. files for SharePoint. This is just a different demo I did before. Select all. And here I've got a list of folders and files basically that I want to export. If I come over into NetSuite, you can see what that save search looks like real quick, just so you're familiar. All right, I'll open this. Okay. All right, so you can see this is just a folder search, and I have some filters here for file internal IDs, not empty. File type is JPEG or PNG, and file name contains period. So this is just kind of some random criteria, but you could say that it has to be in this folder as well. Whatever criteria you want for this file list. All right, so once we've got our files, again, I'll just limit this to let's say 2 here. From here, I'll do again a NetSuite step. I will do a look up additional files. Get file blob, go to next, choose my connection. Here I don't want to parse the files because I'm getting JPEG files and PNG files, so I click no. File internal ID. This is what we're going to take from our save search. So the ID we've got here is file internal ID. And then there's really no preview here, so I'll just leave that and then save and close. Sorry, on this advanced setting, you do have an option to basically purge that file after we get it. So in cases where it's sitting in a folder and you want to basically delete it from NetSuite after you've exported it, you could select this and we'd basically purge the file after we grab it. All right, so from there, we'll go and add a result mapping here, and we will do data.0.blob key, and I'm just going to map that to blob key. And then lastly, I've got my destination step here for Google Drive. I want to transfer files into the application, place files, choose my connection. Here I don't want to generate files from records because I have the file already. I'm just moving it into Google Drive, so I'll click no. I'll choose my directory path again, just as demo. And the file name here, sorry, my floating head's in the way here. Oops. All right. Let me turn my camera off real quick. There we go. All right, so I can open this now. And from here, we want the file name. So the file name is right here. File name. You can preview this and see I get the file name. Save and close. And that should be, and then under advanced setting, we need to set the path to blob key. So in this case, since I just put it to blob key, I'll do that. Blob key. All right, that should be it for this. So if I enable the flow and run it, we should get that going. If I go back to the other flow here, the records, you can see I have 20 exported, and then I made a file of 20 rows. I'll come over to Google Drive. You can see the JSON file here, and I can open it in preview, and that's all of my NetSuite data sitting here. And then if we wait for this other flow to finish here, NetSuite files to Google Drive, let's see. Probably just pause the recording here while this finishes. All right, and it looks like we should be about finished here. We've gotten 2 files I'm sorry, a list of two files from NetSuite. We've looked up those two files from NetSuite, and now we're placing the files. So if I go over into Google Drive again and refresh, yep, there are those two files. Open it here. You can see I've got some sample booking data. So that's pretty much it. That's how you can either transfer files into Google Drive if you just need to basically move blobs from one application to another, or creating files from records into Google Drive.